highlights of what the President has said today on the floor of Parliament to a House dominated by the majority side, the NPP, because the minority were in there. Watch.
The peace that currently prevails in Gabon is required for progress and development throughout the country. We've spent a lot of money to ensure that the security agencies that are charged with maintaining law and order and keeping us safe are well-resourced to enable them perform their duties. Police numbers have been increased and will be increased further until we meet the recommended ratio. The police have been provided with more vehicles and equipment than they've ever had, including over 600 vehicles and 3 incoming helicopters. There are now more opportunities for police officers to undergo training on the job to make them better prepared for work in our communities and keep us safe. We're building upon and improving the capacity of the cybercrime unit to confront and neutralize the criminal and dark underbelly of modern technology and the cyber world. The government will continue to work with the management of the police service to ensure that there's proper and adequate training in modern policing methods and the equipping of the service to enable them deal with crime. Mr. Speaker, government is committed to improving the conditions of service of all security personnel, including the police. But nevertheless, I think it is my duty also to point out that public perception of the police continues not to be the best, and they must make a comprehensive effort to earn the confidence of the public. We cannot run a country of law and order without a well-trained and accomplished police service that has the respect and confidence of the people. I acknowledge the work they do, but I urge them to work harder on their reputation. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to report that the equipment and rehabilitation effort is not only in the police service, but also in all the other services as well. I must make mention of the fire service and the prison service, where the numbers have been increased with fresh recruitment. There are positive things happening in the prison service, with opportunities being made available for inmates to acquire skills. I note in particular with a lot of satisfaction that this past year, 376 prison inmates passed various exams in the National Vocational and Technical Institutes, junior high schools, and senior high schools. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Armed Forces continue to perform creditably in discharging their duty of defending the territorial integrity of the country. The government has retooled and equipped them to keep them in the desired state of readiness. When the government amended LI 1332, which extended the run-out date from 25 years to 30 years for the other ranks, it led to the creation of new ranks within the structures of the armed forces and to a subsequent rationalization of wages and salaries for all ranks within the armed forces. Government is tackling the long-standing housing problem that has faced our armed forces. Over 500 million cedis is being invested in housing projects of varying sizes for the men and women of the armed forces and in refurbishing the military academy and training schools in Teshi. Our soldiers have been active along the northern borders to protect our country and its people since the eruption of terrorist activities in Burkina Faso. Or more high-profile personalities are currently before the courts on various corruption charges, and most are in the pipeline. I would like to repeat that if evidence of corruption is presented, no one will be spared, regardless of position or political affiliation. No one is above the law. That is the true meaning of equality before the law. Mr. Speaker, we inherited a collapsing financial sector that has led to failing banks and considerable agony to many people. The government is having to conjure 13 billion cedis to pay the 4.6 million affected customers of the banks. This is money that we can ill afford, and which would have gone to fund the many things that our communities are crying for. Properly utilized, 13 billion Ghana cedis would work wonders with our perennial infrastructure deficit. But we did think long and hard about paying all the customers of the failed banks, and we believe we made the right decision. I would like to repeat that all depositors of the savings and loans and microfinance institutions, including DKM, which collapsed in 2015, will receive 100% of their deposits too once the validation exercise is concluded. And I'm informed that the receiver of the savings and loans and microfinance institutions will begin on Monday, the 24th of February, making payments to their customers. These monies, totaling 5 billion cedis, being in addition to 13 billion cedis being paid to the customers of the failed banks. We hope that lessons have been learned, and this will serve as a healthy caution to those who are offered unrealistic interest rates on deposits. I do not think it will be possible to repeat this grand pay-up in another lifetime. I want to assure Ghanaians that we're going to hold those who have been responsible for these failures of financial institutions, the supervisors and management of these institutions, accountable. A process which has already started. We expect that those whose job it is to supervise the banks and other financial institutions will do their jobs honestly and competently. I'm very encouraged by the many corporate governance measures that have already been put in place by the Bank of Ghana under the strong leadership of Governor Ernest Addison to mitigate such bank failures in the future. Thanks to the banking sector cleanup, today I'm happy to say that Ghana's weak banking sector that we inherited is now well capitalized, better managed, sound and liquid, and the banks are now increasing their lending to the private sector to help propel the transformation of the economy beyond aid.
So that is the president, highlights of some of the things he said there. He also talks about Galamsey, and he says that he believes that the Operation Vanguard had secured and had chalked some successes in the fight against illegal mining. He talks about the missing excavators as well. There's a lot of analysis on this coming up on Pulse at 3, Top Story at 5:30, Newsnight at 6. You want to stay with this channel, Joy 99.7 FM, also the Joy News channel, as we get into some of the specifics. And if you're one of those who sent us a message a short while ago about what he said about the banking sector, especially if your funds are still locked up with the financial institutions concerned, especially the fund managers. The president says they're assuring that you will get 100% of monies locked up. He goes way back to DKM, and so that then clears the entire backlog. That's the president's word there, delivered to Parliament. You can hold on to it. We'll watch that space very closely. Well, that's our coverage for now. At 3 p.m., Pulse will start with the analysis as we begin to get experts who also weigh in on what we had today. Well, stay with us here on the Joy News channel and on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Evans Mensah.